The Dominion struck at dawn across 12 worlds simultaneously. Korath fleets appeared in orbit. Velithrin networks went dark as communication systems were jammed. Siluan weapon platforms activated, raining energy beams down on cities and military installations. The elder races had learned from their defeat at Earth. This time they brought overwhelming force and struck without warning. On the colony world of New Hanyang, Mirai led evacuation efforts as Korath bombardment turned the sky red. Civilian transports lifted off in waves, trying to reach the orbital stations before the shields failed. Her fighter squadron flew cover, intercepting Korath attack craft that dove toward the fleeing ships. "We've got maybe 2 hours before the planetary shields collapse," her tactical officer reported. 6 million people still on the surface. Mirai watched another transport explode, killed by a Korath missile that slipped through her defensive line. Hundreds of families gone in a flash of light. Get as many out as possible. Focus on the children. If we can't save everyone, we save the future. Across the system, Hana worked in a damaged factory that was still manufacturing quantum drives. The building shook with each nearby impact. Sparks flew from damaged equipment, but her team kept working, assembling components by hand when the automated systems failed. Every drive they completed was one more ship that could fight. One more chance for survival. "Boss, we need to evacuate," one of her engineers shouted over the noise. "The Korath are targeting industrial zones." 10 more minutes, Hana replied, her hands moving quickly over a drive core. "We're almost done with this batch. We might not have 10 minutes. Then work faster." The building's shields flickered and failed. Hana finished the installation, sealed the drive core, and ordered everyone to the underground bunker just as a Korath missile hit the factory's north wing. The explosion threw her against a wall. She felt ribs crack but kept moving, helping her injured team members down the stairs as the building collapsed around them. On Earth, Daiwan coordinated with the coalition species, trying to organize a defense that was falling apart in real time. The Dominion was hitting all of them at once. Human worlds, Tauran worlds, Nalith cities. The elder races meant to destroy the rebellion in a single decisive strike. "New Hanyang is lost," a military officer reported. "We've evacuated 3 million. The rest, Commander Mirai is buying time for the last transports, but her squadron is down to 6 ships. "What about the weapons?" Daewon asked. "Can we hold any of them?" "The Dominion is targeting our manufacturing. They're hitting Hana's facilities first. We're losing the ability to build new drives." Daewon studied the tactical map. Red zones spreading across human space. They were losing. The Dominion's response was exactly what he had feared. Overwhelming force applied with ruthless efficiency. If this continued, humanity would be extinct in a week. He needed to change the equation. "Get me a ship," he told the officer, "and connect me to every communication network we have." "Sir, you're the coalition coordinator."
If I stay here, we all die anyway."
"Just do it." Hours later, Daewon's ship approached a Dominion stronghold in a system called Kar's Reach. It was a massive station where the Korath coordinated their military operations. Heavily defended, heavily armed. A fortress that no single ship should be able to approach. But Daewon was not attacking. He was delivering a message he broadcast on every frequency. "I am Daewon of Earth. I know you can hear me, Dominion. I know you're listening. I am at Kar's Reach, 1 ship, no weapons. I want to talk." The response came from a Velithrin. "You are a criminal, a rebel. You have violated the covenant. There is nothing to discuss." "Then why are you talking to me?" Daewon replied. "If we're just criminals to be exterminated, why haven't you destroyed my ship?" "You're curious. You want to know why we're still fighting, why we won't surrender." A pause. "Then you cannot win. You are 40 species against 3, children against adults. Your resistance only causes more death." "You're right," Daewon said. "We probably can't win. But we're not trying to win. We're trying to survive. And in the process, we're showing every species in this galaxy that the Dominion can be challenged, that you're not gods, just old beings who are terrified of change. We maintain order. Without the covenant, the galaxy would tear itself apart." "No," Daewon said firmly. "Without the covenant, the galaxy would be free. That's what you're really afraid of. Not chaos, not war. Freedom. Because free beings don't need masters." He triggered a transmission that went out to every system in the galaxy. The census records. The proof of the Dominion's purges. The truth about thousands of civilizations destroyed. All the data he had gathered now shared with everyone. This is what the Dominion has done, Day One continued. This is the price of their peace. I'm broadcasting this to every world, every species, every being with a receiver. Decide for yourselves if chains are worth it. The Korath fleet at Kar's Reach opened fire. Day One's ship had quantum drives. He jumped away before the weapons could hit, but the message had been sent. Across the galaxy, beings looked at the evidence. They saw the pattern. They understood what the Dominion really was. And slowly, more species began to move. A convoy of merchant ships from the Tauran worlds refused to deliver supplies to Korath fleets. A research station operated by the Nalith shut down their facilities, rather than give data to the Siluan. Small acts of defiance, but they spread. The Dominion's response created more anger, more resistance. The fire Taeyong had spoken of was burning. Meanwhile, Hana's team made a breakthrough. They captured a damaged Dominion weapon platform during a skirmish near Jupiter. Inside, they found the control node for a Purge protocol weapon, the ancient system designed to sterilize worlds. Hana spent 3 days analyzing it, barely sleeping, ignoring her cracked ribs and the pain from her injuries. What she discovered made her sick. The weapons were automated. They had been used hundreds of times. The destruction of thousands of civilizations was not a series of military campaigns. It was a button press. A cold, calculated extermination carried out by machines that the elder races had built millennia ago. We can turn this against them, she told Taeyong and Day One over a secure channel. The control systems are old. They're not expecting anyone to hack them, because no one has the technology to understand how they work. But we do now. What are you proposing? Taeyong asked. We take control of the Purge protocol. We threaten to use it on Dominion core worlds. We make them afraid for once. That would make us as bad as them, Day One objected. No, Hana said. It would make us equal to them. Right now they can destroy us with no risk to themselves. If we have the same power, they'll be forced to negotiate rather than exterminate. It was a terrible choice. Humanity had fought for freedom, not to become another oppressor. But the alternative was extinction. They decided to try. Mireille led a strike force of 50 ships, all that remained of the human fleet after weeks of brutal combat. Their target was a Purge protocol control facility in a system the Dominion thought was secure. It was defended by a Korath garrison and Siluan monitoring systems. It should have been impossible to reach, but humans had stopped caring about impossible. The battle was vicious. Mireille lost half her ships in the first assault, but the survivors fought with the desperation of beings who had nothing left to lose. They broke through the defenses. They landed troops on the facility, and they held it long enough for Hana's team to infiltrate the computer systems. Hana's fingers flew across the controls, bypassing security, cracking encryption, following pathways through the ancient network. She found the master control. She found the targeting systems. She found access to every Purge protocol weapon in the galaxy. I'm in, she transmitted. I have control. Back on Earth, Day One prepared another broadcast. This one would change everything, Dominion, he said. This is our final message. We now control your Purge protocol. We can target your homeworlds. We can do to you what you have done to thousands of others. We don't want to. We're not you, but we will if we must. End this war. Withdraw your fleets. Let us be free. Or we all burn together, the Velethrin calculated. The Siluan analyzed. The Korath prepared contingencies, and for the first time in 50,000 years, the elder races felt fear. They had created weapons to ensure their control. Now those weapons were in the hands of a species they had tried to cage, a species that had proven capable of the impossible again and again. The Dominion realized they could not win this war without destroying themselves in the process. 3 days later, the Korath fleets withdrew from human space. The bombardment stopped. The killing ended. Not because the Dominion accepted defeat, not because they agreed to peace, but because for the first time they were afraid. Afraid of what humanity would do. Afraid of what they had awakened. The war was not over, but humanity had survived, and survival was its own kind of victory. The broadcast went out on every frequency humanity could access. Every radio wave, every quantum channel, every communication network in Dominion space. The Velethrin tried to block it, but the Whisper had spent years learning how to hide signals inside approved traffic. By the time the elder races realized what was happening, Billions of beings across the galaxy had already heard the message. Earth's representative stood before cameras in the Capitol building, her face calm but her voice carrying steel. She was an old woman named Jiwoo who had lived through first contact with the Dominion. She remembered what humanity had been before the Covenant: free, ambitious, unafraid. To the Dominion and all who live under its rule, Jiwoo began, for 200 years humanity has followed the Covenant of stillness. We accepted your laws. We limited our technology. We stopped our expansion. We trusted that obedience would bring peace. The massacre at Jeju Station has shown us the truth. Obedience brings only death. She paused, letting her words sink in across the galaxy. We reject the Covenant. We reject the right of any being to tell us how fast we can think, how far we can reach, or how we choose to live. We claim our freedom, not as a gift granted by the Dominion, but as a right we were born with. From this moment forward, humanity answers to no one but ourselves. The broadcast ended. For a long moment, the galaxy held its breath. Then the Dominion responded. The three elder races convened an emergency session for the first time in 1,000 years. The Velethrin calculated probability matrices. The Siluan analyzed technological threat levels. The Korath prepared war fleets. Their conclusion was unanimous. Humanity must be crushed immediately and completely. No species had defied the Covenant in 50,000 years. If humanity's rebellion succeeded, others would follow. The entire structure of galactic order would collapse. The Korath assembled a punishment fleet of 200 warships, enough firepower to sterilize every planet in a star system. They would make an example of Earth. Other species would see what happened to those who broke the chains, and they would remain obedient. The fleet entered human space 3 days later. Their target, Earth. Their mission, total destruction of human military capability and the elimination of rebellion leadership. The Korath expected the battle to last less than an hour. Commander Mirai waited with her squadron at the edge of the solar system. 47 ships. Small fighters that had been stripped down and rebuilt with Hana's quantum displacement drives. They were outnumbered. They were outgunned. But they had one advantage the Korath had never faced. They had nothing left to lose. Enemy fleet detected, her sensor officer reported. 200 capital ships. They're heading straight for Earth on a direct approach vector. Mirai smiled coldly. The Korath were arrogant. They did not expect resistance. They thought their show of overwhelming force would make humanity surrender or scatter in fear. All ships activate quantum drives. Attack pattern Delta. Target their command vessels first. Make every shot count. Her fighter jumped forward and suddenly the universe changed. The quantum displacement drive did not just make ships faster. It made them move in ways that normal physics should not allow. Mirai's fighter disappeared from one point in space and reappeared in another with no transition. No acceleration. Just instant movement. The Korath fleet detected the human ships and opened fire, but their targeting systems could not track the new movement patterns. Human fighters appeared inside their formation, struck fast and hard, then vanished before return fire could connect. Mirai's ship materialized 200 meters from a Korath command vessel. She fired every weapon she had at point-blank range into their shield generators. The shields failed. 2 more human fighters appeared and hammered the exposed hull with kinetic missiles. The massive warship broke apart, its structure failing under internal explosions. Command ship destroyed, someone shouted over the communication channel. The Korath fleet tried to adapt. They filled space with defensive fire, creating zones of overlapping weapons coverage where nothing should survive. But human ships jumped through the fire zones, appeared in the gaps, struck, and jumped away. It was not a battle. It was a massacre. Within 30 minutes, the Korath had lost 40 ships. Their fleet formation collapsed as commanders tried to protect themselves from enemies that appeared and disappeared like ghosts. More human squadrons arrived, ships that had been hiding in the outer system waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Korath realized their mistake. They tried to retreat, but human ships pursued them, striking at damaged vessels, destroying engines, cutting off escape routes. By the time the surviving Korath ships jumped to faster-than-light speed and fled, they had left behind 97 destroyed warships and thousands of dead. Humanity had won. News of the battle spread faster than light itself. The Velethrin could not contain it. Too many species had monitored the engagement. Too many beings had seen the impossible. A young species had defeated the Dominion's military arm. The invincible Korath had run away. In the aftermath, Daewon worked frantically to reach out to other species. The census records he had discovered listed civilizations that might still exist in hidden corners of the galaxy, species that had survived the Dominion's purges by staying small and quiet. He sent messages to coordinates listed in the ancient data, hoping some would still be valid. He found 6. The Tauren were insect-like beings who lived on harsh desert worlds. The Dominion had reduced their empire from 100 worlds to 3. The Nalith were aquatic creatures who had once explored the galaxy in living ships. Now they were confined to their home ocean. The Puru, the Valan, the Kiraseth, and the Mandu, each species had a similar story. They had once been great. Then the Dominion had noticed them, and greatness became a crime. Daewon's message to them was simple. Humanity has broken the chains. We cannot win alone, but together we might have a chance. The responses came slowly, cautiously. These species had survived by being careful, by hiding, by never attracting attention. What Daewon proposed was insane. It was also the first hope they had felt in thousands of years. Representatives from the 6 species met with Daewon and Tae Young on a neutral station. They came in disguise, terrified of being discovered. A coalition of the forgotten, the species the Dominion had tried to erase. We have 40 worlds between us, a Tauren representative said. Small populations, limited technology. If we support your rebellion and you lose, the Dominion will exterminate us completely. If we do nothing, Daewon replied, the Dominion will eventually eliminate us anyway. They have done it before. Humanity got lucky at Earth, we surprised them. But they are gathering their forces now. When they return, they will bring enough ships to destroy us all. Our only chance is to stand together. What can we offer? A Nalith asked. Our ships are slow. Our weapons are old. You can offer hope, Tae Young said. Every species that joins us proves the Dominion can be resisted. Every world that declares independence makes the next declaration easier. We start a fire. Others will see the light. The representatives looked at each other. They were scared. They had every right to be. But they were also tired. Tired of living in fear. Tired of watching their children grow up in a cage. Tired of being small. We will join you, the Tauren said finally. We will fight. One by one, the others agreed. A coalition was born. Back in Dominion space, the 3 elder races watched these developments with growing alarm. The humans had advanced technology. They had allies. They had momentum. Worse, other species were watching. Species that had always been compliant were now asking questions, sending secret messages, testing boundaries. The infection was spreading. The Velethrin, Korath, and Siluan reached a unanimous decision. They would use the Purge Protocol, an ancient weapon system designed for extreme circumstances. It had not been activated in 10,000 years. But these were extreme circumstances. The protocol could sterilize entire star systems, turn planets into dead rocks, eliminate all trace of biological life. It was designed to remove species that threatened the cosmic balance. The Dominion began moving the weapons into position. They would target Earth and the 6 allied species' homeworlds simultaneously. They would show the galaxy what happened to those who broke the eternal order. But first, they needed to recharge the ancient systems. The weapons had been dormant for millennia. It would take time to bring them fully online, time that humanity intended to use wisely. Hana gathered her engineers from across the colonies. They had proven they could build better drives. Now they needed to build better weapons, better shields, better ships. They needed to turn humanity's 12 colonies into fortresses. Mireille trained new pilots. Volunteers flooded in from every human world. Young people who were angry. Old people who were tired of kneeling. They did not have much time, but they had purpose, and Daewon kept sending messages. To every species, to every world, the truth about the Dominion, the proof of their crimes, the call to freedom. Some ignored him. Many were too afraid, but a few listened. A few started to believe. A few began to prepare for the day they too would break their chains. The galaxy was changing. The eternal order was cracking. And at the center of it all, humanity stood defiant, ready to fight for a future where freedom meant more than survival. The hidden base floated in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. From the outside, it looked like a derelict mining station, one of thousands abandoned when the Dominion restricted human expansion. Inside, it was alive with activity. Daewon walked through corridors filled with people working on equipment he did not recognize. Hana led him to a conference room where a dozen humans waited. They looked like ordinary people. A cargo pilot, a university professor, a former military officer, a medical technician, but their eyes held something dangerous. Hope mixed with determination. "This is Day One," Hana announced. He found the census records. The Dominion tried to silence him. An older man with gray hair stood up. "I'm Tae-young. I started the Whisper 30 years ago after my daughter was killed for asking questions about Dominion history. We've been gathering truth and building tools ever since." Day One looked around the room. "How many of you are there?" "On Earth and the colonies?" "About 15,000, Tae-young replied. "Scientists, engineers, pilots, teachers. People who refuse to accept the chains. We've been careful. Small cells. No large gatherings. The Velethrin monitor everything. So we've had to be patient." Hana touched a control panel and a holographic display appeared above the table. It showed a strange engine design unlike anything Day One had seen. "This is what we've been building," she said. "A quantum displacement drive. It uses principles the Siluan banned 2 centuries ago. If it works, our ships will move 3 times faster than anything the Dominion has." "If it works?" Day One asked. "We've run simulations. The math checks out, but we've never tested it at full power. The energy signature would be detected instantly. The moment we activate this technology, the Dominion will know we've broken the covenant." Tae-young leaned forward. "That's why we haven't used it. We've been waiting for the right moment. Gathering more people. Building more ships. We're not ready for war." Day One placed his data crystal on the table. "The Dominion has been destroying species for thousands of years. How long do we wait? How long until they decide humanity is too much trouble?" The room fell silent. Everyone knew the answer. The Dominion allowed humans to exist only because humanity remained weak and obedient. The moment that changed, the elder races would act. Light years away, aboard a Korath command vessel orbiting Earth, the hive mind processed disturbing information. The human-designated Day One had escaped. He possessed classified historical data. Velethrin analysts detected increased encrypted communications between human colonies. Probability of covenant violation, 73%. The Korath contacted the Velethrin and Siluan. A consensus was reached. Human activities required closer observation. Enforcement protocols were activated. Within days, Korath ships appeared in orbit around all 12 human colonies. The official message said these were routine compliance inspections. Everyone knew the truth. It was a show of force, a reminder of who held power. On Ganymede Station, Commander Mirai watched the Korath warships position themselves above Jupiter's moon. Her fighter squadron had been scrambled twice already as the massive alien vessels made navigation adjustments that brought them dangerously close to civilian stations. "Orders from Earth Command," her communications officer reported. "Stand down. Do not engage. Allow the inspections to proceed." Mirai's jaw clenched. "They're occupying our home orbit, and we're supposed to do nothing? Those are the orders, Commander." She looked at her squadron of 20 fighters, small, barely armed craft designed for patrol duty and rescue operations. The Covenant limited human military development. These fighters could not scratch a Korath warship's shields. They were symbols, not weapons, but symbols mattered. "Tell Earth Command we're standing down," Mirai said. "But we're going to run training exercises. If those Korath ships get too close to civilian areas, our training exercises might take us into their flight paths." Her pilots grinned. It was a small defiance, but it felt good. The Dominion inspections lasted 2 weeks. Korath enforcers boarded stations, examined factories, and reviewed records. They found nothing officially wrong, but their message was clear. Humanity was being watched. Then the news arrived that changed everything. Jeju Station was a mining colony in a remote system. 2,000 people lived there, extracting rare elements from a gas giant's moons. The Dominion had recently ordered them to stop mining one particular element, claiming it could be used for banned weapons technology. The station administrator, a woman named Bora, refused. She argued that the element was necessary for medical equipment and that the Covenant allowed its extraction for approved purposes. The Korath gave her 24 hours to comply. Bora sent a message to Earth asking for support. Earth Command reviewed the treaty documents and agreed with her interpretation. They told her to continue operations while they negotiated with the Dominion. The Korath did not negotiate. 24 hours after their ultimatum, Korath warships opened fire on Jeju Station. The attack lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, the station was debris. 3,214 people died. Men, women, and children. Families, friends, dreams. The Dominion's official statement said Jeju Station had violated the covenant and refused to comply with lawful orders. They called it a necessary enforcement action. They expected humanity to accept it and move on. They were wrong. The news spread across every human world in hours. People poured into the streets. Not in panic, in rage. For 200 years, humanity had followed the rules. They had accepted limitations. They had swallowed their pride and bent their necks to the covenant. And still, the Dominion killed thousands for the crime of disagreement. Something broke in the human spirit that day. Not broke like glass shatters, broke like chain snap. In the hidden base, Daewon watched the news with Hana and the others. Taeyoung's hands shook as he read the casualty reports. His sister had lived on Jeju Station. "We're out of time," Hana said quietly. "They're not going to wait for us to be ready. They'll keep pushing until they find a reason to destroy us completely." Daewon looked at the quantum displacement drive schematic still displayed above the table. "How many ships can you equip with this?" 40, maybe 50 if we work fast. The parts are already distributed across the colonies. We just need to install them." "That's not enough to fight the Dominion," someone objected. "No," Daewon agreed. "But it's enough to show them we won't submit anymore. It's enough to prove that humans will fight back." Taeyoung wiped his eyes. "If we do this, there's no going back. The Dominion will come for us with everything they have." "They're already coming," Mireille's voice said from the doorway. She had arrived while they were talking, leaving her squadron on Ganymede to attend this emergency meeting. "After Jeju, my pilots are ready to fight. Give us ships that can actually hurt the enemy, and we'll show the Dominion what happens when you kill our people." Hana nodded slowly. "I'll begin installation immediately. 2 weeks to equip the first squadron, a month for the others." "Earth Command won't authorize this," Taeyoung warned. "Then we won't ask for authorization," Daewon replied. "The Whisper has been hiding in shadows for 30 years. It's time to step into the light." The decision was made. The Whisper network activated across all human worlds. Engineers, pilots, and soldiers who had been waiting for years began moving into position. In secret shipyards and hidden facilities, they started work on humanity's first real weapons of war. The Dominion thought they had crushed human defiance at Jeju Station. They were about to learn a difficult lesson. Humanity did not crush. Humanity adapted, and when humanity got angry, the galaxy itself should pay attention. Daewon stared at the holographic display in his small office on Threshold Prime. The numbers made no sense. According to the official Dominion records, only 43 species existed in the entire galaxy. Yet the archive fragment he had discovered suggested something different. Something impossible. The old data spoke of thousands of civilizations, all thriving across the stars just 10,000 years ago. He rubbed his tired eyes and looked out the window at the purple sky of this neutral world. Threshold Prime sat at the edge of Dominion space, a place where diplomats from all the approved species met to discuss trade and treaties. Daewon had worked here for 5 years, always careful to follow every rule. Humans had to be careful. They were still on probation. The Dominion had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. 3 elder races controlled everything. The Velethrin were beings made of living crystal who controlled all communication networks. The Korath were massive creatures that shared one mind across millions of bodies and commanded the military fleets. The Siluan were pure energy beings who watched over technology and decided what each species could build or discover. When humanity invented faster-than-light travel 200 years ago, they thought they would find an empty galaxy waiting to be explored. Instead, they found the Dominion. Within days, Korath warships surrounded Earth. The message was clear: submit to the Covenant of Stillness or be destroyed. The Covenant was a set of laws that every species had to follow. No technological innovation beyond approved limits. No military expansion. No rapid cultural changes. The Dominion said these rules kept the galaxy peaceful and stable. Humanity had no choice but to agree. Now humans lived on 12 colony worlds and Earth. They could trade and travel, but always under watchful eyes. Every ship was tracked. Every factory was inspected. Every scientific paper was reviewed by Siluan monitors before publication. Humanity was allowed to exist, but not to grow. Daewon had accepted this reality until 3 months ago. He was cataloging old diplomatic files when he found a corrupted data crystal hidden in a sealed container. The label said it contained trade manifests from 8,000 years ago, but when he finally decoded the crystal, he found something else entirely. Census records, species registrations, colony coordinates, thousands upon thousands of civilizations that no longer existed. The record stopped abruptly 7,000 years ago. After that date, only the current 43 species remained in Dominion databases. What happened to all the others? He spent weeks searching for more information, being careful not to trigger any alarms. The Velethrin monitored all data access, but Daewon had learned tricks over the years. Small queries spread over time using obscure search paths. Slowly, he pieced together a terrible picture. The vanished species had not died from natural disasters or wars with each other. They had been removed. The Dominion called it integration. When a species grew too advanced, too independent, or too curious, the Dominion stepped in. Sometimes they destroyed the species completely. Other times they scattered the survivors and erased their history. A few were allowed to continue existing, but only after their culture and technology were crushed back to primitive levels. The pattern was clear. The Dominion did not maintain peace. They maintained control. They kept the galaxy in chains. Daewon knew he had to share this information. The human government needed to know the truth. Everyone needed to know. He prepared a secure data package and scheduled a transmission to Earth through encrypted channels. The transmission never sent. His office door exploded inward. 3 Korath enforcers filled the doorway, their armored bodies barely fitting through the frame. Behind them, a Velethrin observer floated, its crystalline form pulsing with cold light. Human-designated Daewon. The Velethrin's voice echoed directly in his mind. You have accessed restricted historical data. You have attempted to transmit classified information. These violations of the Covenant require immediate correction. Daewon's hand moved to the emergency beacon on his desk, but a Korath enforcer was faster. The creature's massive arm swept across the room, smashing the desk and everything on it. Daewon dove toward the window as the enforcers advanced. Correction will be applied, the Velethrin continued. Memories will be adjusted. Proper understanding will be restored. They were going to erase his mind. Daewon had heard rumors of this happening to other humans who asked too many questions. They would return changed, docile, with gaps in their memory that they could not explain. He grabbed a maintenance tool from the wall and smashed the window. Alarms screamed as atmosphere began to vent. Daewon clipped a safety line to his belt and jumped through the broken window before the emergency shields could seal. The outside of the diplomatic building was a maze of balconies, walkways and service platforms. Daewon had studied the layout during his first week here. He ran along a narrow maintenance bridge while Korath enforcers climbed through the window behind him. His communicator buzzed. A text message appeared. Dock 7, ship waiting, run. Daewon did not recognize the sender, but he had no other options. He changed direction, heading for the lower docks. Behind him, he heard the heavy footsteps of the enforcers and the crackling energy of Velethrin weapons charging. He dropped down a service ladder, his hands burning on the metal rungs. The dock entrance was 50 meters away, 40, 30. An energy blast hit the wall next to his head and he smelled burning metal. A small cargo ship sat in Dock 7 with its loading ramp down. A human woman stood at the entrance waving frantically. Daewon sprinted toward her as more energy blasts lit up the air around him. Get in, the woman shouted. Daewon leaped onto the ramp as it began to close. The woman slapped a control panel and the ship's engines roared to life. Through the closing ramp, Daewon saw the Korath enforcers reaching the dock entrance. The ship launched with brutal acceleration, pressing him against the floor. The woman helped him up as they cleared the station's gravity field. Welcome to the Whisper, she said. I'm Hana. We've been waiting for someone like you. Daewon looked at her, confused and still shaking with adrenaline. The Whisper? Hana smiled, but her eyes were serious. The Resistance. We've been breaking the Covenant for 20 years. And now that you've seen the truth, you're one of us. Whether you want to be or not. The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving Threshold Prime behind. Daewon looked at the data crystal he still clutched in his hand. The evidence of the Dominion's crimes. The proof that the galaxy had been living a lie. Everything was about to change. The ceasefire held for 3 months, an uneasy peace where neither side fully trusted the other. The Dominion fleet stayed in their territory. Humanity and the coalition species rebuilt what had been destroyed. But everyone knew this was temporary. The real war had not been fought yet. The Dominion still controlled the Nexus throne, a massive structure in the galactic core where the three elder races coordinated their power. As long as the Nexus stood, the Dominion could rebuild. They could wait for humanity to make a mistake. They could find another way to crush the rebellion. Daewon studied intelligence reports in his quarters on Earth. The Nexus was defended by more weapons than the entire human fleet could carry. Automated defenses, Korath garrison fleets, energy barriers that could withstand a supernova. It had never been attacked in 50,000 years because attacking it was suicide. But if they destroyed the Nexus, the Dominion would collapse. "It's impossible," Mirai said when he proposed the idea. Her fighter squadron had lost 70% of its pilots in the war. The survivors were tired, injured, scarred, but they were still ready to fight. Even with quantum drives, we'd never reach the core. The Dominion would see us coming from light years away. "Then we don't try to hide," Daewon replied. "We make it obvious. We gather every ship we have. Human, Tauran, Nalith, all the coalition species. 600 ships in one massive fleet. We broadcast our intentions across the galaxy. We tell everyone we're going to attack the Nexus." "That's insane," Tae-Young objected. "The Dominion will bring every fleet they have to defend it." "Exactly," Daewon said. "They'll concentrate their forces, leave other systems weakened, and while they're focused on us, other species can rise up. We're not just attacking the Nexus. We're inspiring a galaxy-wide rebellion." Hana entered the room, still limping from her injuries. "There's something else." The Purge Protocol control node I analyzed. It has information about the Nexus, about why the Dominion built it, about what they're really trying to protect. She activated a holographic display showing ancient data. The elder races didn't always enforce the Covenant. 50,000 years ago, they were different. They were explorers like us. Then they discovered something in the galactic core, something that scared them so badly they created the Dominion to prevent other species from finding it. "What did they find?" Mirai asked. "Evidence of cyclic extinction events. Every 100,000 years, something happens in this galaxy that wipes out advanced civilizations. The elder races found ruins of previous cycles. Entire galactic empires gone. They built the Nexus as a monitoring station to study the phenomenon. And they created the Covenant to prevent species from advancing too quickly, believing that rapid technological growth triggers the extinction cycle." Daewon felt cold. They've been controlling the galaxy because they think it's the only way to prevent extinction? "They think they're saving us," Hana said. "But they're also wrong. The data shows that diversity and adaptation are what allow life to survive these cycles. By forcing everyone to stay the same, they're actually making the galaxy more vulnerable." "Can you prove this?" Tae-Young asked. "All the proof is in the Nexus archives. We need to get inside, access their central database, and broadcast the truth to everyone." The plan formed quickly after that. 600 ships, representatives from 30 species that had joined the coalition. A desperate assault on the most heavily defended structure in the galaxy, not just to destroy it but to reveal its secrets. They called it the Liberation Fleet. 2 weeks later, the fleet assembled at the edge of the galactic core. Daewon stood on the bridge of the flagship, looking at the view screen showing hundreds of ships from dozens of species. Human vessels with quantum drives, Tauran fighters with their distinctive wing configurations, Nalith bioships that looked like living creatures, and more. Species that had been silent for thousands of years now willing to risk everything for freedom. He began broadcasting, not just to the fleet but to every corner of the galaxy. "This is Daewon of Earth. Today we go to the Nexus throne. Not to destroy it out of revenge, but to free it. The Dominion has kept secrets that belong to everyone. They have controlled the galaxy for 50,000 years based on fear. Today we take back the truth." The fleet jumped to faster than light speed. The journey took 3 days. 3 days during which the Dominion mobilized everything. Korath fleets converged on the galactic core from every direction. Silwan weapon platforms activated. Velithrin networks coordinated the defense. Thousands of ships and automated systems all focused on one task: stop the Liberation Fleet. The battle began at the outer edge of the core's defensive perimeter. Korath warships met the coalition fleet in a massive engagement that lit up space for light years. Mirai led her fighters in their now familiar pattern, jump strike disappear. But this time the Dominion was ready. They had adapted their tactics. They used area effect weapons that could not be dodged. They deployed faster ships that could chase human fighters. The casualties were horrific on both sides. "We're losing ships faster than expected," Mireille reported. "The Dominion learned from our previous battles. Keep pushing," Day One ordered. "We just need to get one ship through to the Nexus. One ship with Hana's team." The fleet fought forward, sacrificing itself to create a path. Tauren ships rammed Korath vessels, destroying both in massive explosions. Nalith bioships absorbed incredible damage while their crews kept fighting. Human pilots made impossible attack runs, knowing they would not survive but buying seconds for others to advance. Hana's stealth ship, piloted by a volunteer crew, slipped through the chaos. It was small, fast, and equipped with every trick humanity had learned about avoiding detection. It made it past the first defensive line, then the second, then the third. Then a Siluan weapon platform detected it and opened fire. The ship's shields failed. Hull breaches opened. Hana worked frantically to keep the systems running while the crew tried to patch the damage. They were 50 kilometers from the Nexus when the engines died. "We're dead in space," the pilot reported. "No power to the quantum drive. Hull integrity at 30%. Hana looked at the Nexus through the viewport. So close. They had come so far. Then Mireille's voice came over the radio. "Hana, I'm sending you my drive signature. Match your ship's quantum field to mine. I'm going to push you the rest of the way." "That'll destroy your ship," Hana protested. "Then it'll destroy my ship." "Get ready." Mireille's fighter appeared next to the stealth ship. She activated her quantum drive at maximum power, creating a field that enveloped both vessels. The physics should not have worked. The field should have torn both ships apart. But human engineering was built on doing things that should not work. The stealth ship jumped forward, carried by Mireille's drive. It crashed into the Nexus hull, breaching the outer armor. Hana and her team scrambled out, entering the ancient structure while Mireille's fighter, its drive burned out, drifted away into space. Inside the Nexus, Hana ran through corridors that had not seen visitors in millennia. The elder races had built this place to last forever. She reached the central chamber and found what she expected. 3 massive entities, a Velethrin crystal matrix, a Korath central hub, a Siluan energy core, the consciousness centers of the 3 elder races. They spoke to her mind. "You should not be here. This knowledge is not for young species." "Why?" Hana demanded. "Why do you get to decide?" "Because we have seen the cost of ignorance. We have witnessed the extinction cycles. We know what happens when species advance too quickly without wisdom, and we're supposed to trust your wisdom? You've killed thousands of civilizations. You've kept the galaxy in chains for 50,000 years. Maybe the extinction cycles happen because species become like you. Afraid, controlling, unable to adapt." She accessed the Nexus database, downloading everything: the history of the elder races, the evidence of the extinction cycles, the real reason for the Covenant, and most importantly, the proof that diversity and cooperation, not control and stagnation, offered the best chance of survival. "Stop," the elder races commanded. "This information could destroy the balance we have maintained." "Good," Hana said. "Your balance is a cage. Time for something new." She triggered the broadcast. Every piece of data, every secret, sent to every corner of the galaxy. The truth about the Dominion laid bare for all to see. Outside, the battle stopped. Ships on both sides received the transmission. They saw the proof. They understood what the Dominion had done, why they had done it, and why it was wrong. The Korath fleets began to withdraw. The Velethrin networks went silent. The Siluan stopped fighting. For the first time in 50,000 years, the elder races had nothing left to enforce. Their authority was based on secrets and fear. Both were gone now. Day One watched from the flagship as the Dominion forces retreated. They were not defeated by weapons. They were defeated by truth. By the simple act of showing the galaxy what had been hidden, Hana's team made it back to the Liberation Fleet. Mireille was rescued, her fighter recovered. The coalition had lost 300 ships and tens of thousands of lives. But they had won. In the months that followed, the Dominion collapsed. The 3 elder races retreated to their home worlds, no longer trying to control the galaxy. They were not destroyed. They were simply no longer in charge.